The first time Miles Carter walked into Vanessa Lark's penthouse, he wasn't supposed to be there. He was the night shift security guard at her building, a single dad who worked long hours to make sure his daughter, Lily, had what she needed. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't a scientist. And he certainly wasn't supposed to have a cure for one of the most brilliant tech CEOs in the country. Yet there he was, holding a small vial of herbal serum, feeling both terrified and certain that it might be the one thing that could help her. Vanessa was lying on her couch, pale and exhausted. Her face was drawn, her skin red and inflamed in patches that pulsed with pain. She had been through every specialist, every expensive treatment, every cutting-edge therapy the world could offer, and nothing worked. 500 doctors had studied her case. Millions of dollars had been spent, and every solution had failed. Now she was lying in the middle of her high-rise penthouse, feeling like she was disappearing from the world she had built so carefully. Miles hesitated at the door as Vanessa's assistant, Clara, stood in his way. Clara was a sharp woman in her 40s, fiercely loyal to her boss and entirely unwilling to believe that some security guard could offer a real solution. "What are you doing here?" Clara said, her voice cold and strict. "This is private. You can't just—" "I know," Miles said quietly, his hands gripping the vial a little too tightly. "I shouldn't even be here, but I think this might help. I can't promise anything, but I've seen it work before." Clara raised an eyebrow. "You've seen it work? Where? On someone else's pet? On a plant?" Miles shook his head. "On a child. My daughter." Vanessa's eyes flickered. She hadn't spoken much in weeks. Pain stole her words before they could form. But something in Miles's voice, the steadiness, the sincerity, the quiet urgency, made her sit up slightly. "Show me," she whispered, her voice raw. Clara scowled, but Vanessa ignored her. Miles carefully opened the vial and handed it to Vanessa. He explained what it was, a blend of natural extracts made carefully, applied in small doses. He told her about how it had healed Lily's persistent skin condition, how nothing else had worked, how desperate nights had driven him to keep trying until he found a solution. Vanessa's fingers trembled as she dabbed a tiny amount on a small patch of her arm. She expected nothing, because nothing had worked for so long. And then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the inflammation began to cool. The burning pain dulled. She looked down at her arm and felt a flicker of hope she hadn't felt in months. "Is it?" she began, but the words caught in her throat. Miles nodded quietly. "Just a small patch for now. See how it goes." Clara crossed her arms. "It's placebo, coincidence. She's imagining relief." Vanessa didn't respond. She kept her eyes on the small patch of skin. By morning it was clear. The serum was working. The pain had eased significantly. The redness faded, and for the first time in weeks, she slept through the night without screaming in agony. Over the next few days, Vanessa allowed Miles to apply the serum more widely. With each application, she felt a little stronger, a little more herself. And as her body healed, something else began to grow, a connection with the man who had saved her life. Miles wasn't interested in her money, her power, or her influence. He only cared about helping. "I can't believe this is happening," Vanessa said one evening, her voice shaking. They were sitting in the living room, the city lights blinking below. "I've spent my life surrounded by the smartest people in the world, and you saved me with something I didn't even know existed in my own company." Miles frowned, unsure what she meant. "The serum," Vanessa said, her eyes misting. "This isn't just a random herbal mix. My company patented this extract years ago for rare skin conditions. I forgot it existed. I stored it and, well, somehow you found it while cleaning the old lab." Miles blinked, realizing what she meant. "I had no idea. I just found it in the storage room while doing my rounds. I thought it might help, so I tried it." Vanessa reached out and held his hand. "You connected me to something I forgot I had, but more than that. You connected me to humanity. You saw me as a person, not a problem to solve. That's what mattered." Miles swallowed hard. "I just couldn't stand by and do nothing." As her health returned, Vanessa began to invite Miles and Lily more into her life. He taught her about the small joys of parenthood, how to make pancakes that don't burn, how to build Lego towers without them collapsing, how to find patience when your child won't stop asking questions. She in turn taught Lily about science, about curiosity, and about resilience. Slowly they became a family, finding rhythm and warmth in the spaces between their very different worlds. Love didn't happen all at once. It was quiet at first, the kind that sneaks up while you're sharing tea on the balcony or laughing at Lily's messy attempts at art. Vanessa saw Miles not just as the man who had saved her, but as someone steady, kind, and real. Miles saw Vanessa not just as a CEO or a figure of authority, but as someone deeply human, vulnerable, and generous. One evening, as they were tucking Lily into bed, she looked up at Vanessa and whispered, "Will you be my new mommy?" Vanessa's throat tightened. She turned to Miles, unsure of how to answer, but Miles just smiled. "Do you want that, sweetheart?" "Yes," Lily said immediately. Vanessa knelt down beside them. "I'd love to," she said softly, holding Lily's hand. Months passed. Vanessa continued running her company, but differently now. She funded research for overlooked conditions and made space for patients often ignored by the healthcare system. Miles started taking evening classes, finishing the education he had put on hold for years. Vanessa was there beside him, encouraging him, celebrating every small victory, proud in a way that wasn't about money or titles. Finally, they married quietly in the penthouse garden where it all began, a small ceremony, with Lily as flower girl, Clara as witness, and the city skyline watching silently. The vows were simple but full of meaning. Vanessa thanked Miles for seeing her when no one else could. Miles thanked Vanessa for letting him into her life, for trusting someone the world might overlook. Life wasn't perfect. They still faced challenges, but they faced them together. Vanessa's health remained stable. Her company thrived with a new sense of purpose, and Miles balanced work, school, and family life with a newfound confidence. Lily had two parents who loved her deeply, who encouraged her to explore and grow, who taught her kindness by example. Through it all, Vanessa and Miles never forgot the small moments that had brought them together, the nervous handoff of a tiny vial, the late-night conversations, the quiet courage it took to trust someone with your life. Miracles, they learned, didn't always come from labs or money. They came from courage, compassion, and the willingness to act when others would turn away. And sometimes the person who appears ordinary, who cleans floors, opens doors, or guards a building at night, can be the one who changes everything. They can save lives, build families, and show a world that wisdom, love, and healing are not measured in titles or wealth, but in heart. Vanessa often told her friends and colleagues, "Miles didn't just heal me. He reminded me what it means to be human, what it means to care, and what it means to let someone in fully without conditions." Miles would laugh and shake his head. "I just tried to help. That's all I ever wanted." But to Vanessa and to Lily and to the quiet staff who had witnessed it all, that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. In the end, they learned that miracles aren't always about science or brilliance. Sometimes they're about seeing the person in front of you, taking a chance and choosing to act when no one else will. That choice, small as it may seem, can change lives forever.